When was the last time I wore a New Jersey in a preview, right? Been a long time. Because I usually wear a jersey of a team I got a good shot at winning that day, and for New Jersey, and even though it looks like it should be a safe bet, when I saw the starting goalies this morning, I thought, man, I'm going to double down on this because you just never know. All right, we got 13 games tonight, 13, and 7 of them start at 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern. So, I hope I enjoyed the break last night. I actually kind of did. I watched the movie Ready or Not with Yvonne. That was a me movie. I picked that movie. Of course I did. And yeah, so it was kind of fun. And meanwhile, what we will be watching tonight, we will be watching Calgary and Boston. Oh, I'll be watching Calgary and Boston. She'll be watching whatever games Minnesota and Winnipeg are playing, which we'll get to. Calgary, well, they're 32, 25, and 6 over their last over the season. They're 5 and 5 over their last 10. On the road, they're 18, 13, and 2. Boston Bruins, 39, 12, and 12. So at least they have 12 regulation losses to go with the 12 overtime losses. They're 8 and 2 in their last 10, and at home they're 21, 2 and 9. These teams met on the 21st of this month. Boston won 4-3 in Calgary. Calgary scored their 3 goals in the first 3 minutes and then stopped. And that's where the problem lies. For Calgary, it's a matter of playing a full 60 minutes. And I know that sounds like a cliche because it really kind of is, but they're one of those teams that hasn't been playing a full 60. And we'll get to some others that haven't either. Riddick is likely to be the starter tonight at the time I'm recording this. 23, 15, and 5 with a 908 save percentage. Talbot, 9, 10, and 1 with a 914 save percentage. Tuukka Rask will be starting for Boston. He's 23, 6, and 6 with a 928 save percentage. The game against Vancouver knocked his save percentage down by 3 points, as it did for Halak, who's 12, 6, and 6 with a 918 save percentage. So, still one of the best defensive teams in the league, but I remember last year their defense faded towards the end of the year. I'm starting to wonder if maybe they're just getting a head start on that this year. What I did with the scoring this for today is I went with players who are either brand new, or I went with players who it's kind of surprising they're still with the team, or guys who have had a breakthrough. So I kind of I thought, I'll do something different. Forbert, 13 games in LA, 1 assist. Forbert is one of those under the radar pickups for Calgary. I think he's a bigger deal than what the pundits were making it out to be yesterday. It was like, they give Forbert big deal. I think Forbert can be a steadying influence on the Calgary blue line. Now, he hasn't had a great year this year because he hasn't been healthy for most of the year. So let's see if he can bounce back in Calgary. Gustafsson out of Chicago. Man, people were really just not talking about this yesterday either. 6 goals, 20 assists, 26 points. I think Calgary did well for themselves. Mangiapane has had an amazing breakthrough this season. 15 goals, 12 assists, 27 points. I had a feeling about that kid, and there were videos from last year that proved that. Now, on the Boston side of things, they've added Nick Ritchie, who has 8 goals and 11 assists this year for Anaheim. And Duck fans, mostly last month when we were in Anaheim, were talking about how Ritchie just doesn't really have it, and they weren't that impressed with him. So I know people go and the one thing that bothers me is when people say, well, Ritchie was a first rounder. Well, so was Nail Yakupov. He was number 1 overall. But eventually, if you don't have that elite level of play in the NHL, it doesn't matter what round you're drafted in. Kasha, I haven't seen that he's cleared to play tonight. 7 goals, 16 assists, 23 points in his time in Anaheim. I would think he'll play tonight, but I have an asterisk there just to remind myself he may not. Charlie Coyle, 15 goals, 19 assists, 34 points. A deadline pickup last year, which has been a success in Boston. And we'll see how things gel for them tonight. Next up, Vancouver. All right, Vancouver, the post-Markstrom experiment begins tonight. They're 33, 22, and 6 over their last 10. They're 4, 4, and 2. Some Canuck fans, the way they talk, you think they're 10-0 and 0, but I get it. I get the enthusiasm. On the road, they're 13, 15, and 2, so the road record is back below 500. That's problematic. And they're in against Montreal. Montreal 29, 27, and 8. They're 5, 4, and 1 in their last 10, and at home, they're 13, 15, and 5. So their home record is problematic. Somebody has to win and get closer to 500. December 17th, Montreal went into Vancouver and beat them 3-1. I went, this isn't such a big deal. We can do it. And so Montreal's going to try to do it tonight against Demko. Demko will be starting for Vancouver. He's 10, 6, and 2 with a 905 save percentage. Domingue will be backing him up. And we'll all be praying that they don't have to use Domingue too much. On the Montreal side, I would think Price starts tonight. He's 26, 22, and 5 with a 912 save percentage. Lindgren's 1 and 3 with an 880 save percentage. The way that Bergevin was talking yesterday in the press conference, it sounds like he thinks they're still in it, kind of, sort of. But again, it's a press conference, and as Brian Burke said after, they'll try to twist your words. So I'll do a video where I talk about that soon. Scoring. Stetcher's still a Canuck. 4 goals, 10 assists, and I couldn't be happier. 14 points. Toffoli, 20 goals, 18 assists, 38 points for him. Pretty solid since they added him. I know it's only been a week. Quinn Hughes, 8 goals, 31 assists, 39 points for him. And that's 41 assists, 49 points. Just looking at that, I'm like, that's too low. That's too low. Yeah, and it's 8 goals, 41 assists, 49 points. You know what? I'm going to drive myself nuts by making it a different color, just to kind of punish myself. Meanwhile, let's go over the numbers for Montreal. Max Domi, 15 goals, 45 assists, 40 points. Or 15 goals, because I was writing that. 25 assists, 40 points for Max Domi. He's still a Montreal Canadian. There were some rumors out there that maybe Montreal would look at moving him. Nope. He's a restricted free agent this summer. We'll see how much he gets. Petry's still a Montreal Canadian. According to Bergevin, again, he said there's no point in trading guys out who still have a contract for next year, since he intends to make the team good next year. 9 goals, 28 assists for Petry, 37 points. Tatar, same thing. 21 goals, 34 assists, 55 points. They were not trading Tatar. Almost as if the rumor sites are wrong. And the media itself, this isn't just about rumor, the media itself stirs this, where all it takes is one reporter going, well, Montreal isn't in it. Well, Tatar has a year left. If they decide to move him, they could get a lot for him. You're right. We should report on that. And then the rumors begin, because then it goes from one reporter to a second to a third to a fourth. And before you know it, oh, look, there's a huge rumor Tatar is on his way out of Montreal. Which then leads to somebody going, I don't think he's happy anyways. And confirmed. He's not happy either. And then as Tatar wants out and he's not happy and they're trying to trade him. Next up, Toronto, the Maple Leafs, in against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Again, these games all start at the same time. For Toronto, this is put up or shut up now. You're going to Tampa. The Tampa Bay Lightning have looked human over the last week. And we're going to see how their pickups work out for them. On the Toronto front, the Toronto Maple Leafs, 32 goals, or 32, 23, and 8 is their overall record. I'm getting ahead of myself, obviously. 32, 23, and 8 is their overall record. Over their last 10, they're 4, 5, and 1. And on the road, they're 16, 14, and 1. Now, Tampa, they're 40, 17, and 5. They're 8 and 2 in their last 10. Those two are in the most recent games against Arizona and Vegas. Let me look at to put that behind them. At home, they're 27 and 2. It's been a while since they lost at home as well. October 10th, these teams met in Toronto. Tampa Bay whooped them 7-3. And that was where Toronto media had its first meltdown of the season, was in the 7-3 loss to the Tampa Bay Lightning. The other two meetings these teams will have later on this season, March 10th in Toronto and March 25th at Tampa. If Toronto's going to make the playoffs, they're going to have to be able to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. Because if they lose all three against the Lightning, and if the Sabres have a good run, that pretty much gets rid of that cushion right there. Or if Florida turns it around. Florida could turn it around, I guess. Starting goaltenders, no confirmation for Toronto. I'd think Freddie Anderson. 25, 13, and 6 with a 906 save percentage. Campbell's 11, 10, and 3 with a 904 save percentage. On the Tampa Bay side of things, Vasilevsky, 32, 11, and 3 with a 916 save percentage. McElhinney is 8, 6, and 2 with a 911 save percentage. So Vasilevsky will be playing tonight. And again, looking at guys who are either, hey, you're still here, or new additions. Malgin, 4 goals, 8 assists. Playing for Toronto. Those points are all with Florida. Clifford, 7 goals, 9 assists, 16 points. I can't believe fans in Toronto are already complaining about Clifford, but I've seen it. Barry, he's still there. And I understand why they didn't trade Barry, and again, I'll get into that get into that with a video later. Barry, 5 goals, 30 assists, 35 points. On the Tampa Bay side, Barclay Goodrow, 8 goals, 16 assists, 24 points for him. Coleman, 21 goals, 10 assists, 31 points for him. Those are your two additions. We'll see how things go for Tampa. Bogosian, also an addition through contract, not through trade. 19 games, 1 goal, 4 assists this season. We'll see how things go with him in Tampa, because those are your additions there. All right, moving along. Rangers. New York Rangers in against New York Islanders. The Rangers, of course, on an incredible run. Shesterkin gets into a car accident and thankfully is relatively okay for having been in a car accident. He'll be out probably a few weeks, but the panic index should be today. I even told Yvonne that yesterday. I said I should really be doing a panic index on Tuesday because there's some panic that's changed since the last time I did one. The Rangers are 8-2 in their last 10 to get to 33, 24, and 4. They're 16, 11, and 2 on the road. The New York Islanders, 35, 20, and 6 overall. They're 5-5 in their last 10. They've had good fortunes in that they had San Jose and Detroit back to back. They did win those games, so there's some momentum there for them. They're 27-4 at home. January 13th, these teams met in Madison Square Garden. A 6-2 win for the Rangers. The Rangers then beat them again on January 16th, 3-2. But the Islanders got their revenge in Madison Square Garden on the 21st, 4-2, in what was a fun game. And this is their fourth and final meeting. This one in New York. I assume at Nassau, but it could be Barclays. I haven't. All I know is when I turn on the game, I either go, "Oh, this is good," or "Oh, the car's back." So, at sight lines, you can't even see the goaltender from the front row. How can you be in the front row and not be able to see the net that's right in front? Like you gotta. Anyways, Barclays doesn't make any sense as a hockey arena. Georgiev will be starting for the Rangers tonight. He's 14-12-1 with a 912 save percentage. Lundqvist is 10-11-3. He has a 907 save percentage. I think he'll be backing up a lot from here. On the New York Islanders side of things, Varlamov 19-12-4. He'll be the starter with a 920 save percentage. Grace 16-8-4 with a 916 save percentage. So I guess the one thing we'll never know is, was Georgiev going to get moved and then the car accident happened and they pulled the plug on it? Or were they not really going to move Georgiev? Scoring side of things, Kreider, who will be a Ranger for a long time to come. 24 goals, 21 assists, 45 points. He could score 30 this year, and there are still people who will say, he's overpaid. $6.5 million for a 30-goal scorer. It's not bad. D'Angelo, 13 goals, 32 assists, 45 points. That boy's going to get paid this summer. Every year, I've noticed this, every year the Rangers give up a defenseman. Every year, at least one defenseman will leave their blue line. And it feels like it's always somebody rather prominent. Zibanejad, 28 goals, 32 assists, 60 points for him. He's played less than 60 games. He's been fantastic on this run they've been on. On the Islanders side of things, Green, since getting there, he's been offensive. 2 goals, 11 assists for 13 points. I think he's had 4 points since getting there. 3 or 4 points since he got there. Anders Lee, 19 goals, 19 assists, 38 points. We'll see what his leadership's like now after the deadline. And Jean-Gabriel Pageau, who does a little bit of everything. 24 goals, 16 assists, 40 points. He really does. Pageau does a little bit of everything. So if you're an Islanders fan who's thinking, well, I don't know, I give it a week, and you'll be talking about how great he is and what a smart move that was. This is a move that I think definitely ensures the Islanders make the playoffs. But, it's so tight in the Metro, we'll see. That being said, I do need to change boards. Sharks. The Sharks, after doing their selling, and I have to say this. For Doug Wilson to take a guy he's an important player, but he's not, how do I put this? He's not a key core player going forward and turn that into a first-round pick. And I know there were other pieces involved, and everybody wants to correct me on that after that came out after I made the video. Well, it's not that. It really is basically Barclay Goodrow for a first, and then there's a third that gets thrown in, and there's Grieco going the other way. But really, that is some good general managering being done by Doug Wilson yesterday to make the best of a bad situation, where at least they're drafting in the first round in what's supposed to be a very deep draft. They're 26, 32, and 4 now over their last 10. They're 4-6. And who's really happy they sold yesterday? Ottawa. So on the road, they're 12, 17, and 3. And we'll see whether they play better after the deadline, where there's no more concern about who might go and who stays, or if the bottom falls out. On the Philadelphia side, they're 35, 20, and 7. Over their last 10, they're 7-3. They added yesterday. And at home, they're 21, 5, and 4. December 28th, San Jose beat Philadelphia 6-1. But that was road Philadelphia. Road Philadelphia for a lot of this year has been completely different than home Philadelphia. Home Philadelphia has been excellent. So we'll see how home Philadelphia does tonight. Arundel will be starting tonight. He did not get traded. He's 12-13-2 with a 909 save percentage. So we'll see if they renew him or not. Jones, 14-19-2 with an 894 save percentage. I would think if they really wanted to move Dell, that Carolina would have been there for him. Hart, 19-12-3 with a 909 save percentage. He'll be starting tonight for Philadelphia. Makes Elliott the backup. He's 15-7-4 with an 899 save percentage. Joe Thornton's still a Shark. He will likely retire a Shark now. 4 goals, 23 assists, 27 points. Melker Karlsson's still a Shark, so they couldn't rent him out at the deadline, or they weren't interested in it. Maybe Doug Wilson wants to keep him around. 5 goals, 5 assists, 10 points. LeBanc, 14 goals, 18 assists, 32 points. We'll see what kind of money he gets this summer as a restricted free agent again. On the Philadelphia side, debuting, I would think these guys all debut. Some of them, it doesn't work out. Some of them, there's travel issues. There's maybe you don't have your gear ready. Oh, that's only Ottawa. Grant, 14 goals, 6 assists, 20 points. He's having the best year of his career. So Anaheim basically got the most back they were going to get for him. And Grant, who's having a pretty darn good season, it's nice to see he's going to Philadelphia with a chance to make the playoffs. Nate Thompson, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. And so a guy who's a pretty good leader from Montreal goes to Philadelphia. We'll see how things work for him there. And Gostisbehere, who was not being traded yesterday. And I don't see why Philadelphia would even think about it. 5 goals, 7 assists. You'd be trading low. You might as well see if he can turn it around and see if he can maximize the asset, either by keeping him because he's playing well again, or trading him once he's playing well if he doesn't factor into your long-term plans. All right, moving along. Next up, Winnipeg. The Jets in against the Washington Capitals. So for the Jets, who were quiet yesterday, but they weren't quiet in the week leading up to it. But still, everybody just watches yesterday, right? 32, 27, and 5 overall. Their last 10, they're now 6 and 4. There's some reason for some concern if you're a Winnipeg fan. Absolutely. They're 16, 13, and 2 on the road. They're in against the Washington Capitals, who are 38, 18, and 6 overall. They're 3, 6, and 1 in their last 10. Their last game was a victory. They're 17, 9, and 5 at home. So for these two teams, they're both fighting for their lives of sorts, in that Washington fighting to stay first in the division and Winnipeg fighting to get into the playoffs. These teams will meet again February 27th, so 2 days from now in Winnipeg. So this is their first meeting this year. Brossoit is going to be the starter tonight, according to what I was reading. So Hellebuck would be the backup. He's 26, 20, and 5 with a 918 save percentage. Brossoit, 6 and 7 with an 893 save percentage. Holtby's listed as likely for the Washington Capitals. He's 22, 13, and 5 with an 897 save percentage. Samsonov is 16, 5, and 1 with a 916 save percentage. So yes, Braden Holtby, still a Capital. DeMello, 10 assists. We'll see if he's able to really up his game as a member of the Jets blue line. Cody Eakin, we're going to watch and see how well he does as a Jet. He's got 4 goals, 6 assists. It's easy to forget. He had a pretty good year last year, which was when I argued would have been the best time for Vegas to trade him. But it's fine. Now he's a Jet. We'll see how he does. Jensen Harkins, who was on the first line last game, we'll see where he is this game. Paul Maurice puts them all in a blender again. 24 games for him. 2 goals, 5 assists, 7 points. Now, on the Washington side of things, Kovalchuk, 9 goals, 13 assists, 22 points for him. In between his time in LA, Montreal, now he's with the Capitals. He's trying to catch Sillinger. I see what he's doing. I know what he's doing. Wilson, 20 goals, 21 assists, 41 points. There's people out there going, Sillinger who? Karlsson, 15 goals, 57 assists, 62 points as he cruises towards what could very well be a Norris Trophy win. And I know Capitals fans are like, he'd better. And I agree, and yet 15 goals, 57 assists, 72 points. I don't know what was going on last night when I did this. I was really tired last night when I did this. Not that I'm not now or anything, but this is what happens. You end up putting up numbers and your math just goes completely off. And when you're watching a hockey game and trying to do all this too. So, trying to multitask and then you might hear a number on the screen and it doesn't match up. I've done it before where I'm writing a guy's name on the board and I hear something said on TV and I write the other half is the name that they said on TV and I'm like, that's not even a name. That's not even a player. I can't leave that on the board. So there's been a lot of erasing on this board before I even started this video. So I was like, yeah, that's not right. So maybe I'm out of practice because I just had the one game, right? So on to the topic of this game, the Capitals really need this win. They need to sustain some momentum here. 3-6-1 in their last 10 isn't going to get it done. Not in the Metro, where it's going to take a lot of points to win that division. All right, maybe they don't want it. Next up, Dallas. The Dallas Stars in against Carolina. So, Carolina, I thought, and I'm just going to say it here again, I thought while they paid, I thought, what was a steep price for Trocheck in that it was 4 pieces, they were pieces they felt they could move. And then I thought the Vatanen deal combined with the Shea deal, I think they did pretty well for themselves. So overall, they did pretty well. I thought they paid a little bit much on Trocheck, but again, we'll see how things turn out. Dallas is 36-20-6, and they were quiet yesterday. It didn't bother me at all. The last 10 games, 6-2-2, and on the road they're 17-10-4. They've been playing pretty well. Carolina 35-22-4. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1. One of those wins was by a Zamboni driver, and in their home record is 19-10-2. February 11th, Dallas won this meeting 4-1 at home. So this is the one meeting in Carolina. Starting goaltenders. Hudobin will be starting for Dallas. He's 15-7-2 with a .928 save percentage. Bishop's 21-13-4 with a .922 save percentage. Nedeljkovic will make his season debut tonight for Carolina. And this is where it gets interesting. So I've had this debate for a while with Carolina fans about the ceiling for Nedeljkovic, and is he going to be a starter or is he AHL level? And just saying, I don't know. We haven't seen him enough at the NHL level to know. We're about to find out. He could have a nice long run. He could end up being another Elvis type story where we're looking at a month's time and going, oh no, they were fine because this Nedeljkovic kid came up and he was just great. And Forsberg will be the backup tonight. So we'll see how things work. On the scoring front, Hintz, 17 goals, 12 assists, 29 points. Gurianov, 17 goals, 8 assists, 25 points for Dallas. And Radulov, 15 goals, 18 assists, 33 points. I put them up here because all three of them should be 20 goal scorers in the next couple of weeks. Radulov's been disappointing for parts of this year. Hopefully he gets it in gear getting ready for the playoffs. Trocheck, 10 goals, 26 assists, 36 points with Florida. Apparently it asked for the out, and they gave it to him. Vatanen is not going to play tonight. 5 goals, 18 assists, 23 points, but he's not far away from returning. Brady Shea, 8 goals, 15 assists, 23 points for him. And adding Shea to that blue line should help prop it up. The one thing I've learned with the Rangers, and I said when I did the Rangers part of this preview, that they always seem to be trading away defensemen. Defensemen seem to do pretty well after the Rangers trade them away. I don't know what it is, but Rangers defensemen seem to do better when they're not Rangers defensemen anymore. I have no idea why that is, and I'm just throwing that out there. And we'll see if this is another case of that. Next up, New Jersey in against Detroit. And this one starts at 4:30 Pacific, 7:30 Eastern. So there will be 8 games on at the same time at 4:30. All of them right near or at the start. So I'll watch what I can. I will watch what I can. It gets kind of crazy on a night like this. But after trade deadline, I expect it. Now, New Jersey's 24-27-10. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1, and on the road, they're 12-17. So I'm sure people are saying, well, it makes sense he'd wear New Jersey because they're against Detroit. We'll get to it. Detroit, 15-45-4. Over their last 10, they're 3-7. And at home, they're 10-19-2. Now, these teams have met twice. New Jersey won both meetings. So this is a chance for them to sweep it. New Jersey won November 23rd at home, 5-1. They won at home again February 13th, 4-1. So this is the one meeting in Detroit. No problem. But starting tonight for the New Jersey Devils is Corey Schneider. Schneider doesn't have a win this year. He's 0-6-1 with an .852 save percentage. I only wish Howard was going for Detroit, and we haven't got confirmation of the goaltenders yet, but throw Howard in there. Howard versus Schneider, somebody's got to win. Game will sell itself. Blackwood will be the backup, 21-12-7 with a .916 save percentage. He's earned a rest. Bernier's listed as likely. He's 13-19-2 with a .908 save percentage. Howard, 2-22-2 with an .886 save percentage. I say just bench him the rest of the year because that record's fantastic. 2-22-2. Sounds great. It sounds like basically a safe combination. 2-22-2. Not a good combination at all. Now, on the side of New Jersey, I went with guys that were rumored to maybe be on the way out. Paul Mary, 22 goals, 20 assists, 42 points. Why would you trade Paul Mary? Subban, 7 goals, 7 assists, 14 points. I know people say, well, you have to trade Subban. Look at his cap hit. That's why Nashville got rid of him. And that's why New Jersey can't, because New Jersey was the only team willing to take Subban after what was an okay year for Nashville. Now that he's in the midst of a terrible year, offensively, some would argue defensively as well, who's going to take that $9 million contract now? Gusev, 10 goals, 27 assists, 37 points. Rumors of his potentially being on the market were completely overblown, I think, because honestly, there's the potential for his numbers to go up a bit next year if New Jersey gets better. His numbers should go up. He's a pretty good passer, is basically what we've learned with Gusev, and at least he's a top 6 forward. There's no reason to get rid of him right now. On the Detroit front, Timashov, who was picked up yesterday on waivers. I didn't mention it in the video, and I didn't see anybody talk about it. 4 goals, 5 assists with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Guys who go from Toronto to Detroit, sometimes it works out. Larry Murphy. This is not a Larry Murphy situation. Sam Gagner, I feel horrible for. He goes from Edmonton and a chance to maybe make the playoffs. He was sent to Edmonton by Vancouver because they wanted to give him a chance to play and be comfortable. Now he's in Detroit. 5 goals, 7 assists for him this year. Hopefully he's okay with being a Detroit Red Wing, and hopefully he does well the rest of the year. And Darren Helm, who there were rumors of him maybe being moved. Maybe the cap hit was too much for other teams. 9 goals, 6 assists, 15 points. Decent enough forward. I'm sure Yzerman's not upset about having to hold on to him for a while. But again, I'm taking New Jersey in this one, which is risky because Schneider hasn't won a game all year. That being said, time to change words. Next up is Chicago in against St. Louis. This one starts at 5 o'clock. So yeah, then there's 3 more that start at 5 o'clock Pacific. There's going to be 11 games on at 5 o'clock Pacific. 11 games on. So this is an old rivalry. And I expect this rivalry to be pretty lively tonight, even though Chicago's basically out of it. Chicago's 27-27-8. Yeah, they're basically done. 2-6-2 in their last 10. That's why they traded Leonard, because they know they're done. 14-14-4 record on the road. The St. Louis Blues, 36-17-10. Over their last 10, they're 5-3-2. And at home, they're 26-5. So the odds favor St. Louis in this one, absolutely. December 2nd, these teams met in Chicago. St. Louis won that one 4-0. December 14th, they met again at St. Louis. St. Louis won that one 4-3. They will meet again March 8th in Chicago. And we'll see what kind of roster we have for Chicago at that point. Crawford, I would think, starts tonight. He's 11-17-3 with a .915 save percentage. He'll be backed up by Malcolm Subban, who's 9-7-3 with an .890 save percentage. On the St. Louis side of things, Bennington will be the starter. 27-11-7 with a .913 save percentage. Allen is 9-6-3 with a .923 save percentage. So, overall, I think this one, if you look at the goaltending matchup, should go to St. Louis, but we'll see. Now, when you look at scoring and players we're surprised are still there, this kind of thing. Strome, 10 goals, 21 assists, 31 points. Last year he was added during the trade frenzy of the midseason, and he had a really good run with Chicago. It hasn't been as good this year. It really hasn't. So we'll see if he can get things going down the stretch. Nylander, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. He's had an okay year. Saad, 18 goals, 10 assists, 28 points. I put him on the board because I didn't hear anything about Saad this year. Last year I kept hearing about, Saad might go. They might trade Saad. They could trade Saad. It's really weird to me how certain names are out there one year and they're not out there the next, even if their numbers really haven't changed. On the St. Louis side of things, Falk, 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points. Noteworthy because they brought him in from Carolina before the season started. Scandella, 4 goals, 9 assists for him, 13 points. He's been pretty solid since they added him from Montreal. And Jordan Kyrou, 24 games, 4 goals, 4 assists, 8 points. That 8 points doesn't tell you how well he's playing. That's why with rookie years, I always take that with a grain of salt. Takes a good 3 years, I would think, before you get a really good idea of where a player is at. 3 years of playing time in the National Hockey League. When we're making judgments after a year, I just kind of shrug my shoulders and say, nope. There are some players who've had very good rookie years that didn't indicate the rest of their career, and vice versa. Players who had miserable rookie years, and then they went on to have pretty darn good careers. All right, moving along. Ottawa. So the Senators coming off of last night's overtime defeat. They're going to be in Nashville tonight. That doesn't bode well for them as Nashville looks like they're making a run out of it. The Ottawa Senators are now 21-30-12. They have tied Boston in terms of the overtime loss point. 3-6-1 in their last 10. On the road, they're 6-17-6. The Nashville Predators are 30-23-8. Over their last 10, they're 6-3-1. So they have the reverse record of Ottawa. At home, they're 14-12-4. December 19th, Ottawa beats Nashville 5-4 in Ottawa in overtime. So we'll see if they can sweep the season series tonight. I would think to go with Anderson. Hogberg played last night. Anderson's 9-14-2 with a 900 save percentage, I believe. Hogberg, or 902, 903. I didn't put it there. It's fine. Hogberg's 3-7-8 with a 908 save percentage. On the Nashville side, Renee's 18-13-4 with a 900 save percentage. Saros is 12-10-4 with a 904 save percentage. So the numbers are coming up for the Nashville goaltenders, and I would expect that to probably continue tonight against an Ottawa team that does struggle to score and just sold off some more players. Riley stands out as one I'm surprised is still in Ottawa, to be honest. 1 goal, 12 assists, 13 points. I thought they'd trade him back out at the deadline. Pekka, who arrived during the game last night, still got a point in that first game as an Ottawa Senator. So this season he's played 6 games. He's got a point. That 1 assist. Haraluk, who got his first assist as a member of Ottawa last night. He's now played 18 games this year. 1 goal, 3 assists, 4 points. On the Nashville side, Grimaldi, fresh off a new contract signed. 10 goals, 20 assists, 30 points for him. Granlund, 15 goals, 11 assists, 26 points. I'm surprised he's still a Nashville Predator. But I'm also surprised Kyle Turris is still here after the deadline. 9 goals, 19 assists, 28 points. And we'll see if they make a move with one of them coming up to, say, the draft. Granlund's a free agent coming up, so I don't know how that's going to work out for Nashville, or if the interest is going to be there for him to stay, or if he's going to have the interest to stay. It's going to be interesting to see. But yesterday, David Poile decided, you know what? I'm just going to keep things as they are. And sometimes that's the right move to make. Or he couldn't make that move. He called out and just couldn't find that right move that he wanted to make. All right, next up. Columbus. So Columbus coming off the overtime win last night and losing another 3 or 4 or 6 or 8 players to injury. They go in against Minnesota. Unrelated note, I would think Columbus next year for their entire uniform, bubble wrap. Might be a good idea. 31-19-4, 19-14, I should say, for Columbus. Last 10 games, they're 2-3-5. So my brain starts not working again. 2-3-5 in their last 10. On the road, they're 12-8-10. 10 overtime losses on the road. Minnesota, they're 29-25-7. They're 6-3-1 in their last 10. And they're 17-10-5 at home. Now, the attempt to trade out Parise for a package that would involve Ladd coming back the other way tells me that Guerin realizes they're probably not going to make the playoffs. But since that trade didn't go through, we'll see how things go for Minnesota from here. Korpisalo is starting tonight for Columbus. 18-10-4 with a 914 save percentage. Of course, Elvis got hurt last night. He's 12-9-8 with a 922 save percentage. Stalock is starting for Minnesota. 15-9-4 with a 908 save percentage. Dubnik's 11-15-2 with an 892 save percentage. Scoring-wise, Boone Jenner has started putting up points, and I've been saying that all year. Like, well, they need him to start. Now they need him. It started. 11 goals, 13 assists, 24 points for him. Gavrikov, in the midst of a very good season, 5 goals, 11 assists. And Emil Bemstrom, a not-talked-about rookie who could hit double digits in goals this year. 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points. On the Minnesota side, Parise, we'll see how he feels about having almost been traded. 21 goals, 16 assists, 37 points. Keep in mind, he had to waive his no-movement clause in order to get traded, and he did. So he waived it, but he's still there, which means that he likely gets moved this summer. Fiala, 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points for him, as he has a really good season. Galchenyuk, 6 goals, 14 assists, 20 points. Overall, it's been a poor season for Galchenyuk, and it's at the worst time because he's a free agent this summer. So we'll see if he has something left in the tank to maybe get Minnesota closer to the playoffs, at least for tonight. We will see. Next up, Florida. Florida Panthers in against the Arizona Coyotes. The Florida Panthers, 32-24-6 overall. Over their last 10, they're 3-7. On the road, they're 16-12-4. That 3-7 in their last 10 is why Toronto hasn't fallen out of the playoffs yet. Because Florida has seemingly no interest in getting there. Now, Florida picked up some assets yesterday, and we'll talk about it. Arizona, on the other hand, didn't do anything yesterday. Might be the best move. Getting back Kemper could be their trade deadline move. 31, 26, and 8 is their overall record. Their last 10, they're now 4, 5, and 1. They did beat Tampa. Now they're going to try to beat Florida. At home, they're 16, 11, and 4. These teams met January 7th. Arizona won that game 5-2 in Florida. So we'll see whether or not Arizona can sweep the season series there. Bobrovsky will be starting for Florida. He's 22, 18, and 5 with an 898 save percentage. Montembeau's still the backup. They didn't go out and get anybody else. 5, 4, and 1 with an 890 save percentage. On the Arizona side, no confirmation Kemper is necessarily starting tonight, but we'll see. Ronta's 14, 14, and 3 with a 921 save percentage. Kemper's 15, 8, and 2 with a 929 save percentage. On the scoring front, Erik Haula, just over from Carolina, 12 goals, 10 assists, 22 points. He had a very good start to the season with Carolina. Things seemed to sour between him and the franchise at some point during the season. That was the rumor. Now he's been moved, so we'll see whether or not Haula clicks with the Florida Panthers and how this works from here. Wallmark, 11 goals, 12 assists, 23 points. His overall numbers have been underwhelming offensively this season, but Florida must see something there. And Boyle, who they added earlier this season, after the season had started, 6 goals, 9 assists, 15 points. I saw an article listing them as losers at the trade deadline, and I thought, I wouldn't call them losers. But anyways, on the Arizona side of things, Hall, 15 goals, 35 assists, 50 points. He's still an Arizona Coyote. All that smoke about, maybe he's going to get traded again. No, that wasn't happening. Kessel, 13 goals, 22 assists, 35 points. He's got to pick it up. Garland, 22 goals, 17 assists, 39 points. He's had an excellent season. He doesn't need to pick anything up. But that's one guy who I believe is going to stay with Arizona for a very, very long time. Connor Garland's been a nice find for them. That being said, I do need to change boards. All right, and the last game of the night will be Edmonton in Anaheim. That one starts at 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. Edmonton, 33, 22, and 7 overall. Last 10 games, 5, 4, and 1. And on the road, they're 18, 12, and 2. So they will be looking to continue their resurgence with McDavid at the helm. And we'll see how it goes. Anaheim, 24, 30, and 8 overall. Last 10 games, they're 3, 4, and 3, so they've started falling off again. And I expect that to continue with the trades they've made. At home, they're 12, 13, and 4. So we'll see how things go for them. November 10th, these teams met in Anaheim. That was a 6-2 win for Edmonton. So this is the second meeting, both of them in Anaheim. They will meet in Edmonton twice after this, March 23rd and March 29th, the dates for those games. Smith, 17, 10, and 5 with a 905 save percentage. I kind of expect him here. Koskinen, 16, 12, and 2 with a 911 save percentage. Save percentages aside, I do think Mike Smith's playing better right now. On the Anaheim front, I would expect Gibson. He's 17, 24, and 5 with a 903 save percentage. Ryan Miller's still a Duck, as expected. 7, 6, and 3 with a 907 save percentage. I just found it so weird when people were like, well, why wouldn't he want to go to Toronto and have a chance at the Stanley Cup? What if Toronto doesn't make the playoffs? Then he's gone to Toronto for a couple of months. Probably turned his life upside down and still isn't no farther ahead. So I think he wants to retire as a Duck, personally. Now, looking at additions, Green added to the Oilers roster, 3 goals, 8 assists, 11 points. I got a kick out of one of the guys on the panel yesterday saying his job is just to get it to McDavid and Draisaitl. Just pass him the puck. Ennis, 14 goals, 19 assists, 33 points. He's had a pretty good year, and we'll see if that continues with Edmonton or if he struggles. I'm thinking like a poor man's Ryan Dzingel here if he does struggle. Where Dzingel had really good numbers in Edmonton, or in Ottawa, I should say, goes to Columbus and doesn't. I think part of it was because Columbus had more depth than Ottawa did, which is what Ennis is going to find in Edmonton as well. Athanasiou, who people are excited about, 10 goals, 14 assists, 24 points. And you're right to get excited. When he's motivated and when he's playing well, he has some of the best moves in National Hockey League. Then there's those frustrating periods where it's just not there. So we'll see which motivated person shows up. The one that's really motivated, the one that's kind of, sort of, sometimes, maybe. On the Anaheim front, Milano, 5 goals, 13 assists, 18 points. He's likely very happy to be out of Columbus. That's been hanging for, a year and a half, 2 years. Rumors of maybe Milano being moved out of Columbus, so it's finally happened. Agazino, who they picked up on waivers yesterday, 2 assists for him. And Danton Heinen, 7 goals, 15 assists, 22 points. Added from the Boston Bruins. I think for Anaheim fans who are wondering about Heinen, I think you're going to like him. He's a decent enough player. The points don't show it. I think Heinen's capable of being a 20-goal scorer. Now, whether or not he gets there, that's a whole other discussion. But while he may not offer the same bag of tools that Nick Ritchie did, he also will take less penalties, and that's really the key here, I think. For Anaheim fans, I think it's the amount of penalties Ritchie would take, and I was always surprised at the amount of penalties Ritchie took sometimes in the same game. So we'll see how things go for Anaheim from here. They didn't do a complete sell-off. They did pick up players, but there really was an eye towards the future with the moves they made. So there you go. You guys are all caught up and ready for tonight's action. Let me know your winners and all that in the comment section below, as always. I didn't talk about standings. Nothing's really changed from last night other than Columbus jumping above the line and Carolina falling below it. Those moves had better work, or Carolina may not be winners for much longer when it comes to what people thought of what they did at the trade deadline. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. Just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Thanks to everybody who came out yesterday for the live stream. It was fun, and we will definitely do that again soon. Thanks again for all your support. I will talk to you again likely in the next little while here.